Screens have been popular for a very long time, but there remains the question of whether they are good for society in the long term. They help us connect with others around the world and obtain information much more easily, but are they really benefiting us in regards to our health? Screen time is something of much discussion, and it is important to understand the necessity of time away from screens. Children often want to have a phone because their parents and others around them are using them, but the effects of excessive screen time can lead to stunted development and even cause aggression. Because violence is often seen in much of cinema, it is not uncommon to think that violent behavior is becoming normalized. And by doing so, it can put others at risk of being harmed. If development is stunted, it would cause children to fall behind from others who are not suffering from this setback. It is considered on the basic note, according to Jeremy Bidwell, PhD, that screens are good for children and learning better in topics that they may be disinterested in. And by doing so, it may yield desired results. In person learning is still considered to be a good alternative, even as learning is becoming much more digitalized. Because technology can lead to digital addiction, it should be emphasized that children who spend too much time on a screen will lose time to build their social skills. Of which, for children of the future, if their social skills continue to decline, it will cause avoidable future setbacks, such as being able to bond and make friends. Too much screen time has been a link to aggression, partially by violence in films, shows, and commercials. In addition, children are at risk of becoming traumatized from seeing content that they are too young to understand. At the same time, too much screen time has been linked to creating distance between parent and child, as more and more children are complaining about their parents using their phones instead of addressing their needs. According to Jeremy Bidwell, this is causing children to think that their parents are more concerned about what they are reading or watching, and by doing so, this harms the relationship between family members. Of the importance of finding a balance, there is not a set rule of how much exposure we can have before phones or other screens begin to take over our lives. Mayo Clinic explains that too much screen time can lead to delays in language and social skills development, which is sensitive for children in the first 2 years. Attention spans can decrease and are well documented to occur among younger generations such as Generation Z. And by doing so, it is indeed possible that too much technology could eventually lead to a new lost generation. So while technology may benefit in the short term, it may not actually be giving the benefits that were expected to last, such as making learning easier by becoming digitalized. Mayo Clinic makes note that children for the first 2 years of their life, if they have unstructured playtime, they can learn a lot faster and develop the same as other children would. And so activities such as playing outside, reading, and more are considered to be vital for early development. Because onset delayed development will put children behind by a few months to a few years, the effects would likely linger for a long time as they get older. It is important to emphasize that children under 18 months should not have any screen time, and then from ages 2 to 5, an hour per day may be allowed. It is important for parents to ask whether children are playing regularly, as to curb the aggression that is encouraged in violent media. While digital learning may be useful for children in the first 5 years, there is indeed a positive effect of not using electronics until they are often older. Because discipline is important for children to learn in the first 10 years of their lives. By establishing a structured and disciplined upbringing, the children may be able to face the daily challenges and become have a much better quality of life because there is not an overindulgence in screen time. As excessive screen time can be considered a form of neglect, by parents becoming more involved in their children's lives, this neglect can resolve and strengthen the bond between parent and child. Positively, children may also feel that their needs are being met physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. By parents turning off their phones, they can give their children much more time than they think they do not have.